Hello, beautiful women of the world. How wonderful you are. I hope you're feeling great about yourself, no matter where you are in your life. So, I wanted to give you an honest update about how things are going with my renewed search for love and family at the age of 43. And the answer is they are going terribly. I did not want to record this episode, but I promised to hold myself accountable. And if I do end up being successful in my quest, I want to make sure I include an episode about when it really doesn't feel like it's working and it really doesn't feel like it's working now. I mean, I just feel like how I have always felt before when I get that fresh wind of energy. And I think this is the time that I'm going to use my best strategy and really kind of psych myself out to date again. So in the first few weeks of my podcast, I was interviewing women who met their partner and had children in their 40s. And with the exception of one, they all told me that they met their partner online. And so I thought it would be a good idea to give the online dating apps a chance. And I started with Bumble. I set my location to New York City. I am now in New York, yay. And I just felt like there would be a lot more options here than there were in Ithaca when I was visiting my mom. Although I lived in New York before, and it has its own set of challenges with dating, namely that there are so many more women than men. And so the men can kind of be a little bit flaky, but I feel like it shouldn't matter where you live, because also not everyone is really proactive about dating. So I believe you can get ahead if you are proactive. But what I'm finding is that I'm just kind of running headlong into my own fears around dating and my own judginess. And I really dislike what the dating apps are bringing out in me as a person. It just feels like so icky. And so basically what happened is, while I was in Ithaca, I set my location in New York. I swiped on hundreds of people. I was very specific in that I only wanted to date men who said that they wanted children and wanted to get married and were moderate or liberal and had a college education and were over 5'10", which is totally ridiculous because there are so many attractive, wonderful, handsome guys who are not 5'10" or above. Seriously, I feel like an idiot. Now, my range has expanded. Yesterday, I matched with this guy who I just thought was the apple of my eye. He was just gorgeous. Everything about the resume felt right. Went to Stanford, I think some type of doctor, working in tech, software engineer, doing really cool machine learning. 10 years younger than me, which I felt like, okay, if he wants to date someone older than him, great. It seems to be popular with le président de la France dating a woman 20 or 30 years older than him. And, it's not my decision if someone wants to date older than themselves. However, when I woke up this morning, he had unmatched with me. He didn't answer my message. So then I started to feel like bad about myself. And wow, he probably thought it was so weird that a woman who was 43 would match with a 33-year-old. And I got kind of that little bummed out feeling like, oh, the one person I actually liked doesn't like me back. And it's just so easy to feel that way in a dating app, even though it's so absurd. I have no idea what this guy was like in person. Anyway, the point being, he was 5'9". So, it's just so silly to be choosing someone based on height. Come on. So, but then it just feels like there's all these microaggressions, and I just start being so hard on myself for really getting in my own way and being judgmental and not seeing the humanity in people. But then it just feels like it takes so much effort to kind of correct myself and yada, yada. I hope at least I'm growing and my heart is growing and I'm not becoming more judgy through that. So basically, okay, so here's the deal. So I swiped on a gazillion people and I kind of only messaged them so that the match on Bumble didn't expire. And I got to New York and I said, okay, Manisha, there's all these matches. You have to start messaging people. I think I had maybe 25, like 50, at least 50, maybe 75 responses from men that I needed to reply to. And so I started walking around Manhattan and finding various reasons to put off messaging these men for 2 full days. Actually, I drove up on Friday, so Saturday, all of Saturday, I was just walking around. I wrote an entire blog about why Trump banning immigrants is illogical and immigrants aren't stealing our jobs and immigrants foster entrepreneurship, and did all of this research on this blog, which is important but completely unrelated to my main priorities of my business or my dating life. But anyway, it was fun to think about, and I felt good putting that out there. But I was also procrastinating, and I just could not get around to it. Then finally, I ordered a root beer float and I drank that. Another great way to procrastinate. Highly recommend the root beer float at Van Leeuwen. So that was, great. Walked along the High Line. Oh yeah, and then finally I had my root beer float. I was sitting in this beautiful building. I forget the name. It's on somewhere near 34th Street. Has all these lovely shops and Van Leeuwen. And I was finished with my ideations around this blog around the value immigrants bring to this country and how they're not taking the jobs of evangelical Trump voters, and how Democrats can actually contribute and help evangelical Trump voters get jobs. And then I thought about this whole podcast on how we actually had a pretty cool idea, like to get famous business coaches to interview people who are evangelical Trump voters, not interview them, but like they could win one-on-one business coaching. And then these cool liberal VCs could actually help these people get jobs or start their own businesses. Or, like Mark Cuban could coach someone who's an evangelical Trump voter on being an entrepreneur. And then that person is going to start looking up to liberal entrepreneurs as their mentors and not vote for Trump. And then understand that they need to take responsibility for economic mobility, and that, was not answering messages on the dating apps at all. But it was this really cool idea. And then I wanted to launch that podcast. And, I think it is kind of cool. I was thinking we could call it Hire Me. And then basically we get people like Nate Blajarczyk, who's the CTO of Airbnb, or someone like just who's really good, like a famous woman entrepreneur coach, like Tara Moore, who wrote Playing Big, and she could coach a woman about or anybody about how to get a job. And then also maybe those people would learn something about rural poverty and the challenges these people face in getting jobs, and that could affect policy. So anyway, it seemed like a really cool podcast, but yes, I had not been responding to the messages on my dating app. So finally, I got my root beer float, got ready to answer the messages, and I had been using ChatGPT so much that my phone promptly ran out of battery and died. So then I went back home and I sat down. And I was just like, you have to start writing people. So I was just messaging back and forth with all these people. And oh my gosh, I got so discouraged. And I don't know if I was being too harsh. I feel like I was being too harsh. But basically, like, here are the things we found. This guy started writing me. And I forgot also in between there, I went to a restaurant and I started messaging people at the restaurant. That was the final way I tried to motivate myself. So I finally got to the restaurant. I didn't even start messaging people when I got home. I took a nap. So I got to the message, and this is what I found. Guys, so many guys on Bumble, it's really weird. They say, I can't change my age. So I matched with this guy who said he was 53. And then in his profile, it says he's 60. And so I say, are you 53 or 60? And he says 60. And I just felt like, why don't you change the age on your profile? I just feel like I can't date someone who lies about their age. If they're going to lie about their age, what else are they going to lie about? So many guys on Bumble say they can't change their age. So I've started doing this thing where I find there's this link on customer service about how to change your age on Bumble, and I send it to them. And then, of course, they promptly unmatch with me, which is fine because I just don't think, for me, I think that it's fair that lies are a deal breaker. I honestly don't mind if a guy wants to date a woman 17 or 20 or younger than him. Just don't lie. I just feel like that's a bad start. I think that's an appropriate deal breaker. Now, the thing I also have a really hard time with is guys who give me lines. Like this one guy, I just did not like it. I'm scrolling now to find you what he said, but basically it was something along the lines of just like he just gave me some kind of line about, like, okay, so this is an example. Like on my dating profile, I say, like, what are you most excited about in life? And he'll say, like, I'm most excited about meeting you. And it's like, that's cute, but like, what does that tell me about you? Like, you don't know anything about me. All you know is my picture and my profession. I don't feel excited that you're saying, like, I'm saying, what are you most excited about in your life, to understand like what you're passionate about, or instead of saying, like, what do you do for a living, which is a boring question. I just want to know what you're excited about. And they say you. First of all, it's completely unoriginal. And second of all, I mean, it's nice, but it just doesn't really do anything for me. Like, I just would rather get to know you. And then the other thing, just so much cheesiness. And I have to feel for these guys because I know that they're trying, and dating is just so awkward. But I feel like when a man gets to be in his 30s or 40s, I expect a certain level of maturity. Like, why can't you just talk to me like a normal human being? So, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to find some of these messages that made me so depressed when I was reading them. Oh yeah, so the one guy, like, they say, what do you wish is your superpower? And this guy said he wished his superpower was teleportation so that he could travel in time and we could fight about what our first date was. And again, I just, I mean, listening to myself, I sound like a kind of a wretched person just ragging on these guys, but why can't you just have a conversation with me like I'm a human being? Like, I asked you about teleportation because I'm curious about it. That excites you. Like I say, I would love to live forever, and I know it's stupid, but I just don't want people that I love to die ever. And that's just how I feel about the people that I love. Or I would like to fly, and I dream about flying. And I think that's kind of interesting. Like, it tells you about someone, but just saying that you want to do teleportation so you can go back to our first date. And it's also just kind of overwhelming. Like, I don't even know you, and we're not little kids talking. Oh my gosh, I just sound so judgy saying all of this. So I don't like that. I have such low tolerance for grammatical errors. So bad. I'm being honest with you guys here. I mean, now you probably all know I am single, but just when guys say, like, you are, like, you are instead of your, what is so difficult about spelling? Like, am I not worth the effort to type a whole word? I don't know. And it's kind of like a whole American thing, playing stupid. The other thing that just drives me crazy is when a man doesn't answer my question. Like, I'll just say, like, hey, what was the highlight of your day today? And he says, hey, you're cute. I mean, there's one guy, I just kept on asking more and more questions, like, oh, what'd you do today? I walked my dog and went home. Like, I would like to know some more stuff. And, every single time I'm kind of apologizing for this guy and trying to say, okay, well, he probably didn't mean it that way. He's probably nervous. He's probably uncomfortable dating. And then I just start feeling so exhausted, and it's just not fun. And then I say, oh, I should be going out and meeting people. It's so much more fun to meet people in person. But then those guys, you don't know if they want to get married, if they want kids, if they're single, or at least they're single on this dating app. So, it's just hard. So, okay. So then this is so embarrassing. Finally, after going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on this app with 75 different guys, I kind of got a match with someone who I thought might be nice to meet up with. It was a little bit weird. He said he knows like an espresso spot, and I said, oh, okay, where is it? And then he just wouldn't tell me where it was. Like, it was a secret. And then he just said, like, so he asked me out for coffee, and he said, he just was so cheesy, and I just was so annoyed by the cheesiness. Like, hey, maybe we should team up for a coffee shop adventure. Who knows what kind of creative sparks we could ignite together over espresso. So I just said, okay, it's kind of cute. And then he just starts going on this mischief theme. Like, let's see if you can handle more than just double espresso. I'm up for some mischief too. When should we make this coffee escapade happen? And then I'm like, okay, how about Monday? And he's like, early afternoon works for me. Get ready for some troublemaking with our espressos. I'm like, I'm not getting into troublemaking. It's not like we're getting arrested at a protest. And then just on and on about mischief. Again, awesome. Let's make sure we're ready for our mischief by swapping numbers. Shoot me your digits and I'll see you there. Just, oh my gosh. It just, what is this? Shoot me your digits. Why this trouble? Like, I feel like there's this connotation of dating and sex that's like bad or evil or mischievous. And I guess it's kind of flirty, but why does intimacy have to be bad or devilish or mischievous? Like, why can't I just talk to a person? Okay, so I made a date with this guy for Sunday. And then after all that work, I canceled the date. I know, because I just felt so anxious and not looking forward to meeting this guy who just kept on talking about mischief and trouble. And so basically there was a thunderstorm and he did want me to come to Williamsburg, which would be 30 minutes on the L, and the L is often canceled and delayed on the weekend, although I did look it up and it wasn't canceled and delayed, and I was exhausted. But so I just said, hey, I'm not sure if I can do it today. I'm running errands, but let's try tomorrow or another day. And then he said he wasn't free on Monday. So we tentatively, okay, so the good news is that today was the day I wrote him, and we tentatively have plans to go to this cool sober bar. He doesn't drink, which I really like, and maybe he'll tone it down a little bit with the troublemaking espressos when I meet him in person. I don't know. I haven't heard from him yet. Maybe he got cold feet too, or maybe he just had a long day. If he did get cold feet, I deserve it because I got cold feet. And this poor guy, like, he did nothing wrong. He was very nice. That's me touching my phone and it binging. So I don't know, people. I mean, you really shouldn't get discouraged after 2 weeks of trying to date. It just takes a lot longer than that. But I did kind of hope that since I filtered every man who wanted marriage and kids in Manhattan, that maybe I would find somebody who I seemed interested in meeting after I messaged them all, but no such luck yet. Oddly, whenever I start doing this, I get more attention though. Like, I was walking by the street and some guy said hi to me, and I kind of did a double take, but then I felt nervous. Like, who says hi to someone in the street? Isn't that bad? Like, I just felt scared that if someone says hi to me in the street of New York City, I shouldn't talk to that person. It's scary. I'm scared when people talk to me on the street. And this evening I went to Planta. They have a Maki Monday, and I thought maybe I'll meet some nice vegetarian guys who also like good food, but no one was next to me. I talked to the waiter. He was nice, and the waitress was really nice, and there were some nice girls next to me, but mostly I just went on my dating app. So my overall feelings this whole time has been, what am I doing? My life is so full and rich. I have a new tech co-founder I'm working with on my company. We've been friends forever. It's going so well. I have a beautiful, beautiful life. I'm so close to my mom and our old friends, and I have these beautiful friends from all over the world. These two girls I adore that I manifest with in Amsterdam, and I just have so much freedom and flexibility, and I kind of like the idea of raising a child on my own. My mom did it. I see so many people in unhappy marriages, so I feel this tension. I'm in this such an uncomfortable place of having a wonderful life, wanting something more, and caught in the expectation of wanting but not receiving the more, with this pressure of time because of my ability to have children. And living in expectation is so painful, and I'm so tired of it, and I don't want to spend so much of my life in that land. But when I wasn't dating, I did feel that I was closing off part of myself. And so I have to imagine that I'm on this path for some reason, that the pain and the friction I'm going through is because of learning I'm craving in my soul, whether that leads to a partner or not, or does or not, or does or not, the fruit at the end of the trail. But if I hear that call and I have that longing, I can't just say I'm not doing it. And I do think that this feeling of, well, I just don't care, is my own defense against going for what I want. And the really, really sad thing is I do believe that there are men out there who are amazing and would be a wonderful partner for me, but I just can't look past the surface, either starting at the dating app or our first conversation, or that maybe, for some reason I'm not attracted to the person right now who I would find the most joy with in partnership. And that's a bit sad as well. So I don't know. It's not like I'm on the verge of tears with this thing. It's just frustrating and exhausting. And I wish that online dating were more fun because the process stinks. It really stinks. And, it's hard because there's just so many things that I want to do. Like right now, I have about 150, 200 emails I haven't answered. And that's just tip of the iceberg. I'm trying to find some new teachers for some custom learning opportunities we're doing. I want to see my friends in New York. I have another podcast about education. I like this podcast because it's about what I want. If this is what I want to cook. I want to join a gym. I want to write. There's so much, and just, only so many hours in a day. I have all these Bumble messages I need to reply to. And, I'm tired. So, my loves, this is what I'm going to do. I need to talk to some more women in their 40s who found love, because I'm finding those conversations really encouraging and inspiring. And I feel like it's vital now that I take advice and I surround myself with people who have successfully found the partnership that they were longing for. Because I think if I take advice from other people, like single guys or women who haven't found love or women who decided that they just didn't want it, that advice is not going to be as profound as women who have found what I am seeking. And when I say what I am seeking, I leave it open. I really do feel in my body, in my soul, that the seeking is valid. The seeking is what's happening in the present, and the seeking is unlocking vital parts of me. That's the red thread of desire. Maybe sometime I will stop seeking and I will find what I'm seeking, and it will look different. Maybe, what it could be. I don't know. Parts of myself. But I feel like finding partnership, it's not something I observed as a child. It's not something, I never had that kind of father-daughter relationship of my mom. I never saw my mom in an intimate relationship. And, I feel like I don't know what that is, and I'm curious about what it is. And I want to feel that kind of love, but I know that love is also accessible in other ways. And I know what I'm seeking is rare, that not every marriage is like this, but I want to experience it. There's something deep within me that wants to experience it. And maybe I can find that within myself, or maybe it will come through another person. And perhaps God has planted the seed in me, or it's a natural evolution of my spirit to yearn for this. But the answer is to hear it and to follow. At least that's what I feel right now, even though it's hard. So I'm going to try to be more open about the roughness of the process. of everything that comes up within me. Because I love, I don't want to say I believe in compassion, because I don't have to believe in compassion to be compassionate. But that heart connection is an essential thread, and I see how judgy and ignorant I get on these apps. Knowing that humanity takes all forms, and that in many ways social media has turned off our curiosity, the school system has turned off our curiosity, and I get frustrated when I observe what I perceive to be a lack of curiosity, but I also am very judgmental, and I think that sometimes I don't see the beauty that is. And I'm terrified, I'm terrified of meeting someone and not liking them, or whatever that might be. Or I worry that meeting someone could be even a waste of my time, but I don't really think that's true. I mean, I think you have something to learn from meeting everyone, and I can grow in comfort with that. Not that it's always safe for a woman to meet someone. So I don't know. That's where I am. I'm keeping going, and hopefully I can just sit in the place of being someone who meets amazing, wonderful men who want to have children with me, who are capable of having children with me, who are fertile and ready to have children with me, fertile with me, and we can raise a beautiful family together. I want, and I hope, and I want to believe it's still possible, and that I can find comfort in that place of uncertainty and expectation. A part of me just wants like an angel to drop down and say, look, you're just not good at this, stop. Or you're going to find him, you just need to go through this process. And, that would be kind of cool. I don't know. I'm in a place of I don't know. But what I do know is, how to say this? You who are watching are just lovely and beautiful and perfect in every way. And I hope that you are full of love. And if you're feeling lonely, that you have people to reach out to connect to in your life. And those connections are so beautiful and important. And just sending love to all the beautiful, lovely women who are experiencing what I'm experiencing or not tonight. Thank you for tuning in. And hopefully I'll have a more positive update for you soon. I'm going to try to answer all the Bumble emails and really drop into that place of I meet wonderful men. I fall in love with everyone I meet. I am intuitive and kind, and it's here. It's already here. And I can manifest it the way I can manifest other beautiful things in my life very simply. And yeah, I mean, some things are just so simple for me to manifest because I just know they're coming. I don't know why this just feels like such a heavy, heavy rock. And I'm scared, okay? I'm scared that the thing that I've wanted my whole life is not going to be so great. That terrifies me. And I feel like Amanda's going to have to bring a lot of value to my life right now. And I am ready to give a lot of value to another person. I am. But I just don't even know what to look for. Maybe I do. I don't know. I really don't know. That's all I've got for you.